Hey, Seth David here, answering your questions from my blog. On the blog post, QuickBooks tip, how to record payment processing fees. Julie writes in and says she's done what I've said, but she's having a problem with the balance sheet. The undeposited funds account is showing a negative $19,000 balance, and this apparently is the total of 10 invoices in particular that she's got here, where the payment method was a credit card as opposed to checks, which is how people apparently normally pay her invoices. So for starters, the payment method is totally irrelevant. It's probably just coincidence. Maybe they were all recorded around the same time. I'm not sure. But the payment method wouldn't have any impact on what's going on with the undeposited funds account. So, and of course, I could probably do a lot more justice on this if I was able to log in remotely with you. So if that's something you're interested in, give us a call at 866-945-8070, or just go to schoolofanswers.com, and wherever you're watching this, most likely there's a link to it so that you can sign up for a one-on-one session with me, and I can log in remotely with you and troubleshoot this kind of stuff. It's going to be hard for me to recreate this, just in a sample file. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to do my best to kind of walk through some things you can do to double check and troubleshoot what's going on in undeposited funds. So the first thing you might do is, first of all, you need to notice I don't have undeposited funds showing up on my balance sheet because mine zeroes out right now. So the one and only way normally that undeposited funds could ever be negative is somebody posted a journal entry to undeposited funds, which of course you should never ever do. But let me do that real quick, because then that's going to help me. That's going to get the undeposited funds account onto my balance sheet, so I can show you how from the balance sheet you can kind of drill in and troubleshoot some of this stuff. So we're going to credit undeposited funds because that reduces an asset. That's going to give me a negative number in undeposited funds, and I don't care. I'm just going to call it bank service charges. I just need to get something in there. So now I have negative $3,500 in undeposited funds. What you may want to do is double click this, and then what you can do, because you're going to have a lot more transactions than yours most likely, is first of all restrict the date range to a range around the dates where the transactions are, whatever you need to cover that period. And then what I want you to do is over here, total by customer. And that will break it up. I only have one customer in this case, but it'll get yours grouped by customer, so you can start to see each one in and out and see where exactly the problem is cropping up. Now, because here's the thing, you might be inclined to think, oh, well, I know that Julie has commented that she knows it's coming from these invoices, but here's the deal. So let's go find an invoice. I'll show you kind of what you can't do. So we're going to go search for invoices. So here's an invoice, and it's paid, which means there's a payment that's been received on it. So we're going to go to reports and transaction history, and that gives me the related transaction. So let's go to the $5,000 payment. And then this is a $5,000 payment, and as soon as you see this message here on the customer payment screen, you know that that means it's going to undeposited funds. If you click on this link, it will take you to a little help file that explains that. So now if I go to reports and transaction history, I can just confirm that this is included in a deposit here. So the only way theoretically outside of the journal entry that I just posted to get undeposited funds to go negative, this transaction here, the actual deposit, which pulls it out of undeposited funds and puts it into the bank account, if this payment were to be deleted, that would create a negative amount in undeposited funds. But watch what happens if I try to do that. I'm in the customer payment. Let's go edit, delete payment. And it's warning me about the date being old. And now here it is. It says you need to delete this payment from the deposit before you can delete the transaction itself or edit its name or amount. So can't do it. Can't be done. We could, let's see. I've never actually tried this one. Let's see if I can just make a deposit. I'll ignore that payment for now and use undeposited funds. So it says only QuickBooks can make deposits from undeposited funds. So you can't even do it that way. Which brings us to what else could possibly be creating the negative balance in undeposited funds. Again, if it's not a journal entry, and let's go ahead and delete this now, then the only other thing I can offer you is that there's a possibility you have data integrity issues. So here's what you can do. Go into File. You're going to create a copy. Choose Portable Company File. It works and looks a lot like a backup, but it does some things that the backup doesn't do in terms of condensing the data, and sometimes this will fix data integrity issues. So create the Portable Company File. I'm not going to go through it now, but if I click Next, it's going to ask you to browse to a location where that Portable Company File will get saved, and then it'll finish creating it. Then close your company file, right? You'll choose this. And then you'll say open or restore company, and you'll choose to restore a portable file. And then you'll click next and browse to that one that you just made and restore it. Then run your balance sheet. The only other thing, and I don't think I remembered to mention this yet, is that you're running your balance sheet on a cash basis, and that can do some funny things, especially when you have things like receivables and money running because of the receivables. The money is then running through undeposited funds before it gets into the bank account. So check that you're running the balance sheet on an accrual basis. That's the only way to run a balance sheet when you're analyzing a company, and that's the only way to run any report when you're analyzing a company. In fact, the only reason ever for running a cash basis financial statement is because you're filing taxes on a cash basis, and you need them just for that one very specific purpose. Anytime you're trying to analyze your company and see where you're at financially, got to be accrual basis. Unless you truly operate on a cash basis, which means you never create an invoice and never enter a bill, and you just record deposits straight to income, which a retail business could actually do that possibly. So that's my 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 cents on how you can troubleshoot this. Like I said, without being able to actually have a crack at the live data, it's really difficult for me to, ascertain what's going on. And once again, and as always, if you'd like, I can help you one-on-one, and that goes for everyone out there. Just go to schoolofanswers.com, sign up for a one-on-one session. I can log in remotely with you, take over your computer. I'll record the session so that you'll have that recording to review as many times as you ever need to after the session. As always, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the web.